Hey guys, we're just about ready to get underway here. Windows doesn't allow me to do what I was trying to do. I'm trying to get the taskbar to be set up only on my secondary monitor now. And I don't think I've managed to find the settings, so we'll have to skip it. I'll have to check the time obnoxiously right in the middle of stream. That's a shame. However, I believe, let's double check here, we were about ready to start putting magma into minecarts. So let's go up here to our switch, make sure our Dwarf access is closed. We should also make sure that this bridge goes up before we actually allow the magma in. And it's nice to finally have a slightly improved setup for this because it means I can do things like, and I couldn't do that before. Huh. No, you know what? I'm just going to make a bunch of lead flasks. We've got all that excess lead, and since lead isn't modeled to cause brain damage here in Dwarf Fortress, our dwarves are going to be proper Romans and have lead in their water supplies. Not those two. Not sure what they're decorating them with, but they ain't worth 2 grand to me. All right. And that bridge is up. Dwarf access is closed. We are prepared. Auto Butcher down there at the bottom doing work for us. Let's watch this for a second. Sorry, I want the broker. I realized I didn't realize I'd turned the broker off. I want him to go back in case there's something else I want to buy. They're still bringing some goods out, so we can always sell them our crappy clothing for some trinket, and then they can haul it all away for us. I'm going to have to look because I'm pretty sure there's a way to set up stockpiles that will only take your worn goods. And now I have it in single step mode, so we can watch this. I can progress this at my own pace. I can literally control how fast time goes by keeping it paused. and single stepping. And the intent is that we will watch when this bridge goes down. We're going to monitor a minecart or two to see if we can't determine exactly the point at which the minecart is considered to be full. The wiki is vague on exactly how much magma is required. So we're going to let the magma flood out, and it just vaporizes a couple corpses for us here. Poof, poof, gone. And this is kind of slow and painstaking, I admit. So we're burning the old remnants here. Good riddance, good riddance. But no magma actually in this section yet. 1 of 7 here. There is no minecart here because this is the bridge, remember? So we're just waiting on it to... The smoke might be obscuring. That could be a problem. There is no minecart there. Okay, so we go a little longer now. One of 7, but no minecart. I thought iron was magma safe. I'm going to have to look. Maybe that changed. Or did we make the bridge out of something other than iron, maybe? Man, I'm hoping this isn't too large. Because if it is, we get another problem. We have to let it all evaporate off and then deal with it. Which will give us like a third attempt at doing this correctly. The good news is that'll be a whole lot better because then at that point I could just put an access here, put the stockpile there, and fill it from this room by drilling some holes in the floor. So all of the construction we've done remains. We just have to build a new section. Well, we're going to find out. If it doesn't, what that means is we have to go up one floor and start digging out some of this to make this access wider to get better flow through. And then on top of that, we also have to drill out an area here and some holes above it to sprinkler system this whole mess. And then we have to redo the drain. I think if I had to do this over again, I would employ a glass pump. Because I'm not sure we're going to get enough magma flow. And this is, I would love to know how you're going to take those jobs. I'd love to know how you think you can get there. I'll bite. Have at it. I'm starting to think that with the current system, we're going to have to start thinking up a tagging system for our dwarves where we can tag them by their types of needs. This guy has 5 gods. This guy is dying to join the military. Proposal: Dwarven mail. Not like dwarven men. Dwarven postal system. Dwarven postal system uses parchment, scrolls, and allows dwarves to send messages to friends and loved ones in far-flung fortresses. It kind of imposes a new sort of challenge on the needs system at the same time solving a current problem, in that your dwarves now have a need or a way to meet their need to see their friends and loved ones, but at the same time, if you settle your fortress on the far side of the world from your dwarven civilization, messages may not reach you, or vice versa. Well, let's see here. Okay, so there are items to be had that are not worn. It's just a matter of these morons going to actually pick them up on their own time at some point. Go back and recover all these different tasks that we've set up along the way that people are doing. Here's your thought for the day. Does the quality of a temple have any bearing on the ability of its parishioners to achieve their desired deity communing experience? That is to say, if you make your temple nicer, does it work better? That's an interesting side effect. The enhanced view allows you to mark items for trade, but it also allows you to exercise that ability on forbidden items. If you look carefully at my list here, some of this stuff was forbidden. Forbidden, claimed. But they moved the forbidden items here anyway. That must be the items that died on the professor in the reservoir, and they're inaccessible because they're they're locked in the reservoir. I'll bet that's what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. Wife deals with HR where she works. Has to deal with that kind of stuff all the time. Welcome aboard, Tolas. Welcome aboard, guys. Yeah, we got a package today, too. We replaced the wife's monitor, and now I get to use her old one as a secondary, so I no longer need to use an old laptop as a stream monitor any longer. It's great. I can't run either, but at least I didn't take an arrow in the knee. That's right. The arrow got a knee in it. But you stop and think about it. How poor could that arrow be? Look how many guards it's been with. That arrow gets around. And you know it's the same arrow. It's always the same place. It's a fetish, I'm telling you. Cheesy dad jokes are the only kind I have. Okay, I got distracted earlier and we were. Okay, so none of those are full yet. Okay, we're still building up flow here. And we've totally screwed the pooch. Well, shite. Oh, yeah. Major pooch screwage. Now, the real problem is I've got all these minecarts I'm not going to want to unforbid later. Oh, yeah. Major pooch screwage. Yes. Well, no, actually, we were going to fill these for a different reason, but now I punched a hole in the wrong spot here, flooded this hallway, which was our temporary magma workstation. So now those are going to be spoiled here momentarily because I can't rely on any of this stuff down here to survive for any length of time. The magma is already flowing into the stairway, so allowing dwarves to try to use these is already hazardous as it is. So this whole complex is just totally shot. We may be able to salvage some of it, but it won't be in its current form. Which, okay, I can work around that. We can rebuild it. We have the technology. Let me think about this a moment. Since we're rebuilding it, we might as well do it right. Or at least more right than we did before. Yeah, there's no fixing it here, I don't think. We could try to pump it all out, but the problem is this is already a fix on a fix on a fix, and at some point you look at it and go, yeah, probably should have thought that out a little more before we did it. We were doing it in a hurry, and we've been kind of letting it run, and then at this point I got rushed, and, well, I botched it. It's definitely on operator error here. So, we'll put the mine carts there, put the magma up here. And if we're going to do that, Okay, so we'll be limited if we do it that way on how fast we can. See, we can do better than that. No, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sitting here just absolutely just brewing, if you will, on how I'm going to have to do this. I'm not muted. It's just that I'm not on all talk all the time. I use a push to talk since I live with my wife, and she might shout a question or be talking to someone else. And as lovely as you all are, I don't want to really have to expose you to my interpersonal dynamics, as it were. So I run push to talk all the time, generally speaking. Not, for the record, to imply that my wife is not a lovely person. She's wonderful. Oh, don't get yourself don't let me imply otherwise. For the record, we wouldn't be here tonight doing this stream if it wasn't for her. So, all right. So let me make sure I've got this done right. We will. This will be a reservoir for our intake. We'll set up 3 pumps, which will pump out of this channel here down below. The pumps will pump into this room, which will have a bunch of hatches on the floor. So now there's a room full of magma here. We flip the lever, the hatches open, the magma immediately drops into this room below it, and it will fill it almost completely immediately. Like flip the switch again, it's done. We will then drain that out. That's the part I have to do yet. So we fill our mine carts, and then we're going to pump the magma out here through this set of channels, which will drop down right here. We'll pump all the magma out that we can. Eventually, it'll drop too low to get anything reasonable out of the pump, and you'll have to let the last bits evaporate no matter how you do it. We'll pump that out into this room where we can crush it out of existence with a drawbridge. Smash, 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 smash. The magma just goes away. As long as we're not running the pumps with the hatches open, we don't really have a problem. Now, then there's a staircase, let's see, up, which will allow us access to this whole complex internally. And oh my god, the job cancellations are going to be nuts. But that's the problem with working with magma. It's always kind of a cancel spam thing. Once that's all done, we'll just chop these stairs out, floor it over, and pretend, staircase up from here and pretend this bottom part just doesn't exist. The end. We'll get it right this time. Sorry, I have a tendency to just totally become absorbed in what I'm trying to lay out. For those of you who've never tapped magma in the way I'm going to, this is the absolute safest way I believe to tap magma. I don't believe if you do this correctly that it is possible to endanger anyone in the fort in any way. Whereas there's at least some risk in most smooth and fortify sorts of strategies. This allows you to tap magma up against even a pressurized source without ever exposing your dwarves to any risk. See, and it's one of those things, Tolas, you're going to find with me. This one of those things that I'm looking to address the folks who just arrived. How do you build a successful fortress? How do you do it right? Because the reality is, doing it wrong is easy. I already did it wrong. You saw me do it earlier. We're having to cut off an entire section of the fortress because most of it's just going to be filled with magma eventually and worthless. I could try to pump it out. I could figure out some elaborate system to. No, it's just easier to just chop it off and build it, rebuild it. That's not the quote quote fun way to do it, but it's effective. The other thing is I'm really trying to get this magma stuff done because the entire point of this fortress was supposed to be the tree farms and the magma, and we are just now getting to it. And once we've done those, we'll roll over to another fort and start it from scratch. Oh yeah, tree farm, mate. It's draining as we speak, literally. It's draining into the second reservoir. For the second tree farm, complete with rivers, man. Complete with rivers. We don't do anything halfway here. Nature park, straight up river flowing through your cavern wilderness. That's what we're gonna have when we're done. It's what we have up here. It's just not quite drowned. It's not quite drained just yet, so it's still a little flooded. We're working on it. I made the reservoir a little bigger than it had to be. Wanted to make sure we didn't have to fight evaporation. We don't. Evaporation was not an issue. And once that's drained out, and there'll be some dead trees and dead shrubs, but aside from those, that'll all regrow. The end. Trees, we have trees on the surface if we want them. If I wanted an underground tree farm, you probably can get that, but it wouldn't be indoors. You can't ceiling over surface trees. I don't believe. I have to look. Maybe you probably can if you've got a deep enough soil area. If you had 8 layers of soil, you might be able to strip mine a trench, a pit, deep enough that the bottom layer would have been treated to light and therefore not be underground and therefore might grow trees if trees will actually grow indoors. Never tested that. It's hard to get that much soil where it's not an aquifer or something similar. Yeah, I'd have to disable aquifers again, and I was looking to do it for this year's stream. I think aquifers have been adjusted nicely in the current version. Oh, we're gonna have so many cancellations. So that turkey hen did something very naughty. I'm assuming it's because it lashed out and got the first hit somewhere. The nanny goat straight up kicked the turkey, and then everybody just ganged on the turkey. Turkey hen attacked and missed. Nanny goat missed. Turkey hen missed. Crafter jumps in. Hauler jumps in. Nanny goat gets another kick in. Turkey hen scratches another turkey hen. I'm assuming they're just packed in there a little too tight. But at least that solves me from having to deal with that pet turkey. We can, however, repurpose a small section of this, I'm hoping. We'll seal this up, put a hatch here, seal this up with a door or a wall, go up one more floor, put a dump zone there with a diagonal to prevent miasma that drops onto the hatch, and a pressure plate that triggers the hatch. Dwarf walks in, dumps something in the hits the pressure plate, which opens this, or closes it as the case may be. It doesn't matter which way it works, really. Drops their stuff in the miasma proof shaft, which lands on the hatch or falls into the magma. Whichever, doesn't matter. Again, no big deal. You do the same thing with a bridge, I suppose, and not have to worry about the magma, which is probably better. Just atom smash it repeatedly with just let the people use their bridge to the hatchet or the pressure plate activated bridge as they walk in and out. It doesn't matter whether it's up or down. Anything you put in the shaft, you're not getting back. Okay, something went major fuckage here. What the fuck? Interrupted by a giant, I get. Interrupted by one of our military, not so much. Canceled rest, and oh, there's been a fucking loyalty cascade. I don't think we had a werebeast. We didn't have a werebeast when I wasn't looking, did we? I see a forgotten beast way down here. But that's old. And there's nobody. See, I think we've done loyalty cascaded here. Let's see if this is real combat reports or if it's over now. Yeah, so something went off the rails there somewhere. That turkey got into something, and all of a sudden, everybody's fighting. I mean, by the time this occurs, we're already going. Okay, I gotta figure out what the hell happened here, because this is all kinds of. We're sparring, and then all at once we're fighting. Somebody grabs a war dog. I thought it was that turkey first. I don't even see the turkey now. Turkey hen. So something went wrong here. The nanny goat kicked the turkey hen for some reason, bruised the muscle, and then everybody ganged the turkey hen, starting with the carpenter. The carpenter punches the turkey hen, which is a pet, dead. So let's go over to the carpenter and see what the hell happened there. The hell happened to my military that they all started fighting is what I want to know. I mean, they straight up went, I'm going to kick you, I'm going to stab you. Somebody punched somebody, and then there's some fractures. I mean, this is straight up, we're going beyond training injuries here. That's all tapping, tapping, tapping. Huh. Not entirely sure I understand what happened there. I would say training injuries, but at some point they all just. Here's a child attacking the military guy. I gotta look and see if maybe they're still treating charging attacks and wrestling attacks as maybe being lethal at some cases. That would be just about right. Just weird. Not sure why he would have got smoked out of the nothing out of nowhere like that. Okay, so let's see here. Definitely not sure what happened there. Looked like minor loyalty cascade, maybe. A couple of guys got on the wrong side of the Dwarven Civ or the Dwarven settlement and then splat. And that's going to really improve the mood now that we've lost, 2 or 3 military people all at once to an internal conflict for some completely strange reason. So we may get Tantrum Spiral out of it to boot. And see, now we have somebody that's really upset. Probably going to be S. Okay, so let's see. Major injury because he was apparently involved in that whole kerfluffle. He started a fist fight, threw something, toppled something. This has got to be him. Well, our legendary miner is about to go find himself off in the wilderness somewhere pretty soon, I'm thinking. Likely to go demand tribute of the goblins shortly. He's sitting in the, yeah, some of these guys that they dragged to the hospital didn't make it. So whatever the hell happened there, it was, yeah, okay then. Two pairs of military look like maybe military and maybe military and crafter. I have to look at the carpenter and see if that was one of the ones that got splatted. We're likely to lose a couple more to mood swing. I should probably consider turning up our dwarf count a little bit. It is, however, going to take a while for the river to drain off, unfortunately. It'll get there, but it'll take a minute. Okay. Got a tomb. Signed to him. Well, I guess we can claim him. Didn't realize he was way out there. Is that one of ours? Huh. Wow. I don't have any hunters. I'm not sure what he would have been doing way out there. Went for a walk way out in the woods. Got caught, got dead. Well, pick him up, get him buried. Okay, that gets us the drain, the upper area, the lower area needs to be cleared a little bit. Okay. And then we'll need a way to access this area, but that's not hard. Cancel spam is going to be horrible, but we will get this done. We will rebuild it faster, better, stronger, with more magma, more often. It doesn't yet, but it will. We're going to let magma in here. We're going to pump it into this room with will have the mine carts in it and fill them up. Have to stay focused for a second. A couple of our miners are actually trapped. There we go. Now the magma tapping itself will be done from down here through a bridge, so it'll be completely safe. Just throw in a rough gabbro bridge. Once this area is done, we can wall this off. They no and this bridge is done. They have no longer have any reason to access this chamber. We can forbid and hide all this stuff and just get rid of it like it doesn't even exist. This is a little more intricate than our last design, but it's also a little more. It should have better throughput for magma. It should allow us to fill more minecarts faster. We're still subject to the limits on evaporation, of course. There's no way you can get around having those last 1 of 7 units of magma that have to evaporate. Um, Unfortunately, the only answer for those is literally just to wait for them to be gone. But it's my hope that by doing this section the way we are, we will get good results with respect to being able to fill as many minecarts as practically as we want. I mean, I think I got space for 50 minecarts to be filled at one time. I haven't built the drain yet, so we got to do that, and we got to get this bridge done over here. But oh, I forgot. Yes, I have. I forgot we're pumping the magma out for the drain on this one. Ha! So what we're going to do is we're going to set up 3 dwarven pumps, just glass pumps right here. 1, 2, 3. That'll pump magma into this room to hold it. Drop it into here to fill the mine carts. Pump it through 3 more dwarven pumps into this room where we can crush it out of existence with the drain bridge. This isn't just better engineered than the last one. This should work better than the last one to boot. Less space required. Like I said, every time I do one of these and I think about it a little more and I do it again, I think about it a little more. Design just keeps getting better every time. Progress is an iterative cycle. Realistically, the only progress in my forts that's not iterative is someone suggests, hey, have you ever tried to build X? And then I have to go out and figure out how X works. Okay, we're going to need a bridge here. It's there periodically sound sense will let the music idle so it doesn't kill your ears. Unfortunately, it doesn't do the same ducking with the sparring noises. It's there, it's just very quiet. Let me turn it up. Problem is, if I turn it up too much, then people suggest that they can't hear my voice over the top of it. So we're kind of torn. I can turn it up. The problem is, of course, then at that point you have difficulty hearing me over the top of Sound Sense. Sound Sense doesn't really give me a diversified mixer for the music versus the sound effects. And I don't know about you, but after you start to hear, if you listen to the sparring for a while, you're going to have a hard time hearing the music over it anyway because there's so much of it going on, all these combat noises that I'm debating whether I want to hear those. The problem is that I don't think I need to look and see if Sound Sense tracks sparring separately from. Yeah, so it does. I could eliminate a lot of this by eliminating lightly tapping the target, so this stuff would just go away. I could probably turn the music up at that point. I need to look at doing that, but not right now. Just bear with me. I figure we could probably get through another hour of stream without too much trouble. The downside is all this effort to get all this stuff down here is going to take a while again. Alas. Yeah, see, I've got the volume adjustment at 100%, 0. We are setting up our minecart filler. Basically to replace the old minecart filler, which I botched. It would have worked, but I screwed it up. So, okay. This also includes all the old worn ones, so I really need about double or maybe even more than what I actually want to have on hand. Since I have 150 dwarves, if I allow for them to have worn clothing, so that's need 300 of everything, one to replace it, plus I have to have enough allowance for their existing worn clothing to take off, and then some fudge factor, you're looking at, 300 or 350 maybe right off the top. And then we're going to have an allowance for stuff that the invaders and people bring in, so we have to allow for that too. So I have to raise all of these. Give me a second. We're going to fill the mine carts with lava for the intended purpose of filling a magma workshop upstairs. I'll show you what we're going to do here in just a sec. Bear with me. Now we should see some proper action on clothes making. No wonder it wasn't working properly. So, what are we doing with the magma? I'm asked. All of these holes you see in this floor in here are intended to be filled with magma to be part of a magma workshop, but they are not part of a volcano system or other magma ducting. They are not part of piping. There is no magma flow here. What we are going to do is fill minecarts with magma, use wheelbarrows to move them to a stockpile up here, because magma filled minecarts are very heavy. Once they're in the stockpile, we'll assign them to the track stops as part of a route that really doesn't go anywhere. As soon as the minecart is put on the track stop, it'll dump its stuff into the hole. Take that minecart that's been now emptied, mark it for dumping, and put it somewhere. Put it in another stockpile, for example. So we'll have a second stockpile we'll set up to take the empties, basically. Once that's done, we move them back downstairs, even to the. We keep moving back downstairs to the filling station, if you will. Once there's enough magma in each one of these holes, we can get rid of the track stops, move them to another place, and just basically move around the room until we've filled magma in all these holes, and then we have a magma workstation fairly close up to the surface. This is only Z level negative 34. Our magma is at level negative 150. You could build a pump stack. Your frame rate will crash. It's doable. I mean, theoretically, right? Could build a pump stack. I wouldn't do it, but you could. You could use DF liquids. I may demonstrate on one of these holes without after I get it to work the long way. We may use DF liquids just to speed the process up. Problem is we blew a bunch of mine carts downstairs, so I need to check our stocks actually and see if we have enough mine carts to left over to do this, or if we're gonna have to build more. Probably have to build more. Let's be honest. Yeah, we've got one iron mine cart that wasn't lost in that kerfluffle downstairs. So okay, that's fun. And our magma workshop is down too. Don't forget, because we ruined that. So let's go fix that while we're at it. None of this above anybody's skill level, mate. I think I could probably have walked you through to this point. If you'd been with us from day one when we started this fort, I think I probably could have walked you through everything I did through the up to this point in easy to understand terms. If you stick with us over the next couple days, once I've demonstrated how to set up the magma workstations up top using mine carts to move the magma instead of plumbing, and once the tree farm was done, theoretically, well, we may not wait on the second tree farm. I gotta admit, I'm kind of souring on the idea at this point. It'll drain. It's just gonna take 3 days to do it. Um, we'll probably roll this into a new fort, and I will actually sit down and start it from scratch if you want to follow along with how I'm doing it and why. I love answering questions for folks that go along, mate. That's about half the reason we're here is so I can answer questions for folks who may have them, insofar as I can, anyway. But I do want to be able to demonstrate the minecart filling mechanism for moving magma, and I haven't done it yet since we botched it the first time out. Whoops. Oh, yeah, throw a tantrum in the temple, topple a statue or two. That'll end well. Please note, I don't have any actual statues in the temple as of right now. Although technically, I think it works regardless of what they topple, as long as they topple something. Actually, no, I want them to pick that stone up. I want it out of my stockpile. And we kind of have to wait for them to be done with this magma workshop station we're getting built here, so. So this magma workshop area here is sort of a bolt-on to this whole process. Basically, we're just going to connect up all the little ramp squares so that all of this is on one set of piping. And then we're going to use the bridge tap to put some magma in here, and away we go. So the plumbing for the magma forges isn't particularly ingenious. You basically just punch a bunch of holes and run magma under it. Simple. Those of you who haven't pumped or moved magma yet, don't worry, we're going to demonstrate. Now, those tiles, if you look at them, should not be reachable by any of my dwarves. The only access is if I remove this bridge and they come up, or if they remove this wall and they come through. Everything else is sealed up all the way around. There's no staircases, there's no holes from above, there's no access in here whatsoever. I think in theory they could probably climb down here, but we're going to see. I'm hoping they won't. Theoretically, that's already being hauled, which should prevent anybody from getting in there, I'm thinking. So we're going to cross our fingers and hope that works as advertised. But there it goes. There it goes. As long as they can get to it that way and the magma, there we go. That'll prevent any. Yep, yep, yep. So what's happened here is our dwarves have arrived on the level below it, and they're standing on this ramp below the bridge. And then bridges don't block vision, so they can't actually mine the tile above the bridge through it. And they mine these border tiles adjacent to the bridge, which is magma safe. The magma flows through the open tiles, like they're not even there anymore, remember, straight into our reservoir. Must have calmed down from his temper tantrum. Okay, magma intake is doing its thing. Need to get the pumps built. Still waiting on my glass because we don't have magma workshops anymore. Right. Yeah, that one definitely doesn't have a coffin, so we're going to have to make a slab for that one. Let's make sure they don't cancel it here in a second. And someone will come along and engrave that, and we'll stick it together in our funerary complex. We should have a miner idle to do that right now. He'll come along, get that dug out. We'll have a place to put the slab. Right now, our funerary complex is full of coffins, both full and to be used. Come on, guys. I want to see some trees suffer. Chop back the green hell. Not even kidding, this taiga has regrown like incredibly fast. For you folks who've just joined me, these giant stockpiles are not intended to actually hold anything. They are effectively giant sheets of dwarven yard cloth to hold down the weeds and the trees. They're giant stockpiles set to allow absolutely bupkis. Apparently, our temper tantrum dude went over and smashed some dog. All right, and the reservoir is just about full. The hatch covers have started to be installed, which is good. Unfortunately, there is a fair bit of construction that will have to happen before this is ready. I think that's the first time we've had somebody stung by a honeybee. Got him right outside the fortress. I say that, but there's honeybees around, so it must have happened before this. But honeybees wouldn't normally be stinging folks away from the hive. Doesn't benefit the collective in any way. which goes back to my minor gripes about how beekeeping is currently handled. I guess in a way, my beef kind of feels like I'll have to do some homework, but it kind of feels like we've got the Dark Ages version of beekeeping and the High Renaissance version of metal crafting. Oh, I think somebody's off to bury our wayward. Is that one of ours? Or is he leaving the fort? No, he's leaving the fort. Oh, wait, wait. I think he's leaving the fort. I don't think that's our name of our scholar. We would have called ours academics. But the trees are suffering, which is good. Now, I have to put the yard cloth down because when we built this in a hurry, alas, as I replay every year, I get a little better each time, coming back from my old rusty ways. We're going to do a much different fort next time. Much different. Same circular basic overlay. There's not much I can do about that. That's just basically the most efficient way to lay out a fort. But let's build us a hybrid corkscrew and see if we can't pump that tunnel out so we can finish clearing this. We don't need this pressure regulator here. This is excess. And it's restricting flow on the river. So which flooded when we flooded the tree farm. So our access tunnel, which ran under the river, got flooded because water flooded in through where we allowed our passage through. We can fix all of this by pumping the water out of the access tunnel, which we can do, and then once the access tunnel is open, digging this out and channeling out the pressure regulator from above. Okay, somebody must have gone somewhere they shouldn't oughta. The hell would they be after down there would be my question. Oh, no, it's the magma flooding the workshops is what it is. See, we're going to come out okay here because nothing in this workshop is masterwork. Not sure what masterwork item got smoked there. Must have been something somebody dropped because the green glass items won't be affected. And bars are not considered masterwork, so all that stuff's just going to melt. The coins will melt. Those that are magma safe will melt. All this stuff is just going to get smoked. But there's nothing else down here that's... The smoke makes me think some stupid dwarf came down here for something I had not forbidden and got himself incinerated somehow. But I don't know. No way to know who that would be, I don't think. Still 153 dwarves, so no, it's not somebody got burned. Something got dropped there, and it's weird because glass stuff should have been immune to fire damage. Somebody put that slab in and get Moaning Myrtle out of her misery. This guy is upset, and he has reason to be. She was upset, and she had squat reason to be that I could do about it. Yeah, that unit zoom is for somebody we got rid of at some point. Okay, so let's look here. But they've... I don't really need these last two tiles. It just looks really unsightly to my eyeballs. Got to make sure these are all linked up. This should be one solid unit of plumbing, basically. I thought it was awful quiet. No wonder it's still on pause. Damn it. It's like, man, these miners are taking forever and it's awful quiet. About three-quarters of the time, it feels like Dwarf Fortress is a game primarily about figuring out why the stuff you wanted done isn't being done. Knowing and or figuring out the reason why all the stuff you wanted done isn't. So now the next phase of this is temporarily, at the very least, I go into all of the workshops upstairs that are using coal and get rid of them. And I use just these temporarily to obviate the need for coal on anything other than steel. Since this isn't going to go away, and because I've made this a separate reservoir from everything else, so that once it's filled, it's never going to empty, it flows in from the level above it, actually. The magma up here will flow in, flow down into the catch pocket, and never leave this catch pocket. There's no way for the magma to get out. We're going to drill that staircase out and replace it. And we're going to have to link hatches and bridges, and hatches aren't even installed yet. The bridge isn't done yet. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. Okay, no big. I can't get access to that room to clear the tunnel that I need from below. I have to do it from the side because both of those entrances are down. Just doing a ramp won't work. It doesn't. I don't think it clears the. It doesn't matter. We'll build this and wall it back up. Zoop! This house is clear. Well, time to bring everybody indoors. Everybody should be running their asses off to the door. See, now where's this guy going? Everything outside the fort is already off limits, has been for a while now. Where is he going? What's up? Tell me he's not one of ours, please. Nope, he's definitely one of ours. So where's he going? What's he after? Oh, he's snagging those 3 logs right there. Oh, shit, I gotta get that shit forbidden. Before somebody else has the bright idea to pick those up. That stuff should be off limits. And you all should be running your happy asses off. Goblins. So far, it just looks like one squad, and they came in on the worst side. And I believe that so far the bulk of our invaders have arrived from the north, oddly. Not sure if there's some reason for that. I thought we were fairly far north ourselves. Same thing as before. This stockpile's not meant to actually house anything. It's just meant to keep trees from growing directly over the top of that hole. It's part of my burrow, and I don't want stuff falling in the hole that they go to collect. I'll get the stuff out of that hole later. But that leads to our main entrance, and that's where I want the goblins to come in. Although I don't think we have any traps just yet. I want them drawn that way. Assuming, of course, I can get someone to actually pull the lever. Of course, it is the person coming from the absolute most distant point in the fortress. Alright, now, the downside is we don't have a caravan at the moment, do we? No, good. We don't have any traps up, so the best we can do at this point is just seal this up until we get the drop pit ready. It's getting cleaned, actually. There's nothing in there now but the ore, and that's fine. We don't care about that. So the pit's ready. We just need the traps. So we'll seal the depot off so that nobody comes in that way. Probably need to get some tavern rooms up. That's right, you better be pulling my lever. And with that, there is zero access, I think. Going to leave that on as training because we're going to train this animal. I'm going to try to train this animal for hunting. Theoretically, if it still works as it once did, then hunting animals get an upgrade to their observer skill, which allows them to spot hidden intruders better. Now, if this is all they brought, let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like they've only brought a couple squads. And not all that many in terms of, okay, so we maybe will just do this out. Tactically, at this point, it works better for us if we position ourselves here and lure them in across the bridge and then smash them because we don't want to have the crossbowmen standing back if we can avoid it. Give our squad a second to assemble. Some of them may be a little out of position for after all. And then we'll let some really freaking high skilled dwarves have some goblin fun. All right, I think we're set. Now, is there? I'm gonna have to look and see who's out there for us to raid because it's getting on to be time, gentlemen and ladies, dwarves and dwarves. Now, when this comes down, the goblins should make their way this way. Huh. Okay, so yeah, royal. It did go royal. It's like, wait a minute. The goblins, I'm hoping, will figure out that they cannot get in any other way. Ah, here comes one squad now. The other squad's in the tunnels. We're going to charge that crossbowman down and see if we can't just absolutely destroy him, I'm hoping, before there's a problem. And now they are, or at least they should be. Yeah, they apparently, the kill order is really dumb because apparently they take their equipment right off as soon as they finish killing their first guy right in front of the goblins. It's like they wouldn't even respond. They're just standing there, and now all of a sudden they flood in. But it's like 3 days ago I told them to go to station. Two dwarves died while I'm waiting on the rest of them to wake up. Okay, so we're going to build a bridge here, and then a wall there, and then some workstations here, because we're going to have everything we need at that point. All right, so we are coming up on 10 o'clock, guys. I'm going to stop here for tonight. Keep in mind, tomorrow is Friday, and circumstances permitting, we will probably run a longer than usual stream tomorrow or Saturday or Sunday or some combination thereof. So keep your eye on the schedule because I may decide to switch it up for this weekend depending on how things work. Um, Saturday and Sunday I had originally planned to do at 7, and it may change depending on how things happen. But so far, that's the plan, and we'll just run until I get exhausted. Now, give me a second here, and I'm going to set you guys up. We'll go on a raid.